Hellblade's Senua's Sacrifice is not what you'd expect from Ninja Theory, the fine folk behind Heavenly Sword, Enslaved Odyssey to the West, and DMC Devil May Cry. And yes, that's a good thing. Hellblade's laser focus on telling a dark story in a bleak world is in sharp contrast to the entertaining elements of its previous works. You're Senua, a warrior who traverses through a nightmarish underworld, which is a fragmented hellscape pieced together by psychotic manifestations of her reality and mind, in an attempt to bring her boyfriend Dillion back to life. Along the way, you'll encounter stone carvings that flesh out the game world, fiendish puzzles to solve, and warriors who bay for your blood, all while paying close attention to the voices in Senua's head, which represent different elements of her personality. Not only do they provide narrative information, but they're also an invaluable source of advice in terms of solving puzzles or defeating the game's bosses. The former consists of simply focusing on required shapes or visual elements, or simply navigating through an area in the correct order. They aren't as much as brain teasers as they demand situational awareness. Suffice to say, if you treat these segments like a walking simulator such as Tacoma or Firewatch, you'll find yourself stuck more often than not. Pay attention though, and you're rewarded with a bit more lore and detail on Senua's quest, adversaries, and more than a few bits on Norse mythology. Speaking of which, most of the enemies you face off are Viking warriors. They're no slouches either, with different types from the sort who use swords, shields and axes, to others like the fire-wielding sword. They're a varied bunch and liven up the proceedings, requiring you to employ different strategies to defeat them. Unlike Ninja Theory's previous works, you won't have more than one sword and you can't upgrade it either. But the combat stays fresh and opens up, granting you access to new abilities such as being able to slow down time, which is useful against multiple foes. From speedy stabs to heavy hits, Senua might not be as skilled as say Dante, but the moment-to-moment swordplay stays fresh thanks to the weight of each blow, making the combat a welcome addition that flows naturally into the game's structure rather than just another bullet point on the game's store page. All of these elements are tied together by a cohesive, gripping story that's brought to life with fantastic voice acting and slick animations. Without spoiling much, Hellblade's plot does a lot to bring its world and characters to life and is core to the experience. So much so that Ninja Theory opted to remove any form of meters or indicators to impede the experience, forcing you to rely on visual cues during combat and puzzle solving to progress. Our grouses are minor. We experienced some framerate drops in the PS4 Pro version of the game, and the controls could have been better explained. That aside though, there's little else that's off with this great looking title. Marrying combat, narrative and strong characters, Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice is greater than the sum of its parts, making it well worth its asking price. It might not be the sequel to DMC Devil May Cry, but it's a tense, focused experience that's worth its price of entry. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button to subscribe. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram at Gadgets360.